that the purpose of our meeting today, of our gathering today, is to think about how we gather with people like yourselves around the country. And the models that we have go back to the civil rights movement. And in that movement, before Dr. King was mercilessly killed in Memphis, where was he? Where was he before that? He was in Detroit, Michigan, and I'll start to cry, with Walter Reuther, and he gave a speech that was, and they then came and they went down to Memphis. But the United Auto Workers stood for justice. And some of you are United Auto Workers. So we ask ourselves, what is the model that we can take to America from the heart of America? Right here. Right here. And how do we move it forward? That's a challenge for all of us, but it ought to be on our minds today. I think about my own ethnic group. I'm of Polish American heritage, and I carry that very proudly. But in the 1980s, a social movement in Poland, led by the steel workers, brought down the system of communism that had repressed the multiple generations of my family and millions of other people in the nation of Poland. They formed a strike. I think that we need to think about the power of you and the power of the American people gathering together and linking in a way that we have not done for a very long time. And I think that moment is now. I keep looking for which city has the motto, to work and to pray. I know where it is. I see great labor leaders here who happen to be elected to other offices as well. And I think about how do we put the piece of this together in a peaceful way that brings the feelings of the American people with us. I see the signs that are here today. I'm on the committee that votes to fund the federal government. All right, I see what they're doing to Social Security, to Medicare, to Medicaid. These votes are going to be coming up very soon. But on labor rights, I don't want to make people stand here too long. Baltimore has taken me to places to see individuals that, though I had seen some of it here, I never saw what I saw in Mexico with the killing of Santiago Cruz. And I think about my grandmother and grandfather when they came here with nothing. They didn't come with wealth, like so many that are coming now because they got a special law that allows billionaires to come in here, but the average person can't get in and become a citizen quickly. And I think about someone who wanted to tell the contractors in the fields in Mexico, you don't have to pay a bounty hunter to bring you to this country. You don't have to pay $8,000. But I want to tell you two stories. One, when I was with Baltimore, I got off in some group, and this older man, he had to be about 90 years old, said to me, with broken English, he goes, why, I work 1947, 1944, 1947, Bracero, I'm Bracero. How come I didn't get my money? How come? And I said, what? What is he talking about? And here was a gentleman who had come here to America and worked in California. And in the middle, I wasn't even born. And I came back to Washington and I tried to figure out a Bracero. What was he? Oh, Marcy, well, yeah, he worked and he was guaranteed that he would get his money when he went back to Mexico. And I tried to find his money. And what we found out was the government of the United States paid the government of Mexico. We made our commitment. We paid. The problem was the government of Mexico didn't pay him. So that's the kind of continental situation we've had over most of our lifetimes, which is so unfair. And I believe, 1934, when the National Labor Relations Act was passed, guess which sector was left out of the ability to form a union?
Farm labor.
Farm labor. Who said that? you get 100%. Farm labor, just like we had slavery at the beginning. What is it about agriculture? What is it? Such a hard jobs that allow us to eat. Why has this always been exempted? So what I am for, which is more radical than Baltimore, I am for the reformation of the National Labor Relations Act to include agricultural labor continentally, all right? And that's going to be hard. That means Canada, the United States, and Mexico. We have to go back. We have to be just like those who passed the right for women to vote in the early 1900s. This is that moment in American history. I'm not against what you're proposing, but to have these people labor in the hot sun. I was with Baltimore in a tobacco field in North Carolina. Oh my God. Those workers came at 6 a.m. It was hot already. They have a piece of plastic on them, like a garbage bag. And they begin to pick the plants off, the nicotine flowers off the tobacco plant. By 9 o'clock, it's like 100 degrees. We're out there in the fields. There's no shade over their head. They work like that all day long. By noon, they've thrown off the clear plastic, right? And they're sweating. And they have no more feeling in their fingers because nicotine is on those flowers. And this is what they do for a living. I said, Baltimore, where do they live? He took me. This trailer, this is inside the United States of America. This little dinky trailer where 5 men live, and I walked out the back, and there was this big can with a connection to the stove inside the house, inside the trailer. I said, what is that? They said a gas can. I said, oh my God, what if it blows up? Where are the, where's OSHA? Where's all these agencies? And then I walked out, and there's a man sitting there bleeding. His middle finger was cut off. And I didn't speak his language, but I said, where's he from? Guatemala. I said, Guatemala? Okay. I said to him, sir, how much did you pay to get here? He said, $8,000. The trailer was worth about $100 that they were all living in. And I thought, oh my God, this is happening in my country. And it's so wrong. It's so wrong. So the people here, I can tell by your reaction, by your hearts, you're with me on this one. But this is a hard struggle. This is a really hard struggle. And you have to ask yourself, are you up for it? Are you up for it? Okay. So we have to put our forces together. We have to use our beautiful members of City Council, our state representatives, all of the people who are here, our county commission. We have to have a strategy. And we have to find organizers like you and other places in this region. And I feel, because Michigan and Ohio, and Pennsylvania too, are states where labor has rights. This is where this movement must come from. This is where it must come from. So thank you for being here today. Thank you for loving our country. And she needs us now. She needs every one of you. You think of 10 people that you know. If you know people in Detroit, you find them. All right? If you know labor leaders who care, who also care about agricultural workers. One other thing I want to say. When we voted on NAFTA, 1994, I fought so hard. I fought with every drop of blood in me on that. We went all over the country. We tried to get a no vote on NAFTA because we knew what would happen. It meant that all these factories would be uprooted in our country and it would go down to Mexico and places south. That's exactly what happened. And the people that did this have made so much money. All these billionaires, you see how Wall Street has taken over so much? Those are the people that have become billionaires because they play off penny wage labor. They moved, I remember Dana, when Dana was thriving, Dura Corporation here, and they got up, they literally, I went down to Mexico, Baltimore wasn't with me that time, but I found a street, Calais, Ohio, Calais, Michigan. I took a picture of it. I thought, what? And who was on the corner? A windshield wiper company out of Buffalo, New York, out of Rochester, New York, Trico. I'll never forget it. I thought, just what we said. They're going to come down here. And then we went, I said, where do the workers live that work here in this place? And we went to where they lived. It was a squatter colony. They lived in the packing boxes from the company, and they had one light bulb, and it was connected to a battery. I thought, oh my God. That's what the people back then did. And I'll give you the names. Bill Clinton, George Bush the first, Brian Mulroney, who they all became multimillionaires, okay? And Carlos Salinas out of Mexico, the former president, they haven't even found him yet. They haven't even found him. And then they passed later CAFTA, okay, which went into the Central American countries. So this is a deal, folks. This is a deal, and we're the meat in the sandwich, the people in this region, right? And we have to elevate this to a level high enough that the American people will stand up for the working men and women of this continent. And it's time, it's overtime. Thank you very much.